Tonight, in the final hours, the candidates for the White House reach for every possible vote.
They are fighting so hard to steal this damn thing.
We have the power to decide the fate of our nation.
What they're saying in the states that matter most. Plus, election denial. We'll break down how Trump's team is preparing to fight if Harris wins. After our reporting, a wave of new complaints about Canada's biggest telecom providers.
I wasn't expecting to get my first bill and have an increase right away.
Fired by his longtime employer, a renowned editorial cartoonist on life after newspapers.
You know, I've never been viewed more on a daily basis, yet my source of income are drying up. It makes no sense.
The Sunday interview with Michael D'Adam.
From CBC News, this is The National with Ian Hennemanson.
For a U.S. election, the pollsters say has been a dead heat for weeks. This is the final chance for Donald Trump and Kamala Harris to close the deal. It is a crescendo of campaigning now before the polls open Tuesday morning. A last-ditch attempt to get every last vote, especially in the election's key swing states. We have coverage tonight from 3 of those battlegrounds. Katie Nicholson is in North Carolina. Ithel Musa reports from Wisconsin. And Richard Madden has the story in Pennsylvania. But let's start in Washington. Katie Simpson has been following all the twists and turns.
Donald Trump is setting the stage and priming his supporters to reject election results if he loses, accusing his opponents of cheating in a series of baseless claims.
They spend all this money on machines, and they're going to say, we may take an extra 12 days to determine. And what do you think happens during that 12 days? They are fighting so hard to steal this damn thing.
In one of his final rallies, Trump's language hit extremes even by his standards. From the former president expressing regret he left the White House after losing the 2020 vote.
We had the safest border in the history of our country the day that I left. I shouldn't have left.
To jokes about the attempts on his life and violent rhetoric.
To get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news. And I don't mind that so much.
She's in Detroit.
Kamala Harris focusing on battleground Michigan, urging voters in Detroit to make a plan to get to the polls.
In just 2 days, we have the power to decide the fate of our nation.
And trying to combat Trump's unfounded claims of voter fraud.
I would ask, in particular, people who have not yet voted, to not fall for his tactic. The systems that are in place for this election in 2024 have integrity. They are good systems.
All the day after a surprise appearance on Saturday Night Live.
The American people want to stop the chaos
And end the drama
with a cool new stepmama.
In Washington, D.C., at Harris's alma mater, Howard University, preparations are underway to host Democrats and their election night headquarters. Students here remain hopeful, inspired by Harris's candidacy.
Honestly, it is an amazing feeling. It's crazy to think that we have come so far.
Oh, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling to see how she came from being at Howard and just to see that there's goals for me to, maybe get in politics one day.
National and swing state polls both suggest that this race remains a toss-up with just hours of campaigning left. Ian.
But there's one poll that seems to be an outlier.
Yeah, a well-respected pollster out of Iowa says Harris has taken a 3-point lead in that state. Donald Trump has won Iowa in the last 2 elections, and no one is realistically expecting Democrats to pick it up. But it's more broadly being interpreted as possibly a reflection of what some Midwestern voters are feeling in this moment, particularly in neighboring Wisconsin, a swing state, and nearby Michigan.
Katie Simpson in Washington. And security in Washington is ramping up in preparation for Election Day. Workers were adding new fencing around the White House today to create a larger, secure perimeter. Additional barriers were also set up outside the Vice President's residence. And Secret Service have been stationed around these areas as more tourists flock to the Capitol. When it comes to voting, parts of North Carolina have a bigger challenge than most. The devastation from Hurricane Helene wiped out homes and businesses and polling stations. But as Katie Nicholson found out, rather than deterring voters, it seems to have energized them.
A little bit rocky there.
It's been 5 weeks since the remnants of Hurricane Helene ravaged western North Carolina.
They pulled it all with it and took it all to the bottom, so we were finding homes that were a mile away or more.
The storm claimed more than 100 lives in this state, 3 of them along this stretch of mountain road.
They got caught up in it and were swept away.
You'd think voting would be the last thing on anyone's mind. But after Jason Stokes and his wife Anna Ray were rescued during the government response, it galvanized them to vote early.
If we want to have a government that works, then we've got to get this vote right.
North Carolina has shattered early voting records, led in fact by the regions hit hardest by Helene, which have outpaced the rest of the state, thanks in part to special measures to ensure disaster victims could vote. Still, there are fears Helene may impact the election.
It's affected everything, so there's no doubt that it will in some form.
There was an offering by the state Republican Party to send a helicopter in and to actually fly them out. There's some tarps back there.
Helene upended the Yancey County Republicans' original game plan.
Just in case people don't have PPE. So that focus really shifted away from a we-they, and it became more of a focus about our community here and the fact that we still need to be strong.
The storm wiped some polling stations off the map. 7 sturdy FEMA-style tents now in place for Election Day.
These locations became disaster relief areas.
Yeah. In Buncombe County, the Democrats have scrambled to make sure everyone knows where to vote on the big day and are micro-targeting voters.
We've had to identify the neighborhoods that are most devastated and pretty much stay away from them or text. So if people want to get engaged, they can.
Helene also forced victims in these deeply partisan areas to work together, literally rebuilding bridges.
There is a way to work together if it matters to us enough, and in this case it did. So hopefully we can take that forward.
And Ian, that's something that many here hope extends well beyond Election Day.
And are both parties on board with these special emergency voting measures?
Yes, they are, much to the amusement of some Democratic leaders in this state. Donald Trump has historically criticized early voting. In fact, he did it again today. And as we heard Katie Simpson mention, he may be trying to lay the groundwork to challenge election results. And in this swing state with such thin margins, that is certainly something that could open the door to more challenges on Election Day and beyond.
Katie Nicholson reporting from Asheville, North Carolina tonight. With time winding down to reach as many voters as possible in the 7 battleground states, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are leaning on their running mates.
I brought this just to illustrate how much Kamala Harris's inflation has cost us. This is $5,000 right here.
J.D. Vance in Pennsylvania trying to tie Harris to inflation, questioning her competence. Harris's running mate, Tim Walz, hitting a rally in Atlanta, Georgia, where he stressed the race there could come down to just one vote. Pennsylvania is one of the most pivotal swing states. Its 19 electoral votes are more than any other. Richard Madden traveled across the state, hearing from some of the country's most coveted voters.
From festivals to farm country, we spoke to voters across battleground Pennsylvania, whose views are divided, diverse, and could determine who wins the keys to the White House.
We just don't talk about politics because it just does, to me, it doesn't make any sense.
Outside this Italian cafe in Pittsburgh, old friends Silvio and Vincent are at odds. Vincent is voting Democrat this time.
Kamala, because she's the best for that. These other guys and a lunatic.
Silvio is all in for Trump.
I'm a working man. I used to be a working man, so I can afford $5 a gallon. To me, Trump was beautiful.
Pittsburgh is in Allegheny County, a key region Democrats need to hold, but Republicans appear to be making inroads. Crossing through the heartland, it's Trump country. Supporters we spoke with believe Trump's bogus claims of a stolen election in 2020 and that it's happening again in 2024. If Trump loses, do you think it's rigged?
Absolutely. I mean, it already is known to be rigged. There's so much corruption here.
Trump is already laying the groundwork to dispute the results of the upcoming election, claiming fraud, cheating big in Pennsylvania. While state officials say they're investigating but have found no evidence,
when we deliver, Harris walks and
Philadelphia's mayor tells us she's not taking Trump's bait.
Everyone else is focused on nonsense and conspiracy theories coming from I don't know where. In Philadelphia, as the mayor, I have one thing in mind, and that's top. Turn out Philly.
Some of the state's most competitive races are in Philadelphia's suburbs and where the election will likely be decided.
I've always been a Republican my whole entire life.
Oh, but this time?
I've changed. I'm a Democrat.
Because?
Because I'm not rooting for Donald Trump. Absolutely not. He takes away women's rights. He's just disgusting.
I'm feeling pretty anxious. We are in the swingiest part of a swing state. And if you drive around here and look at yard signs, it's almost 50-50.
Now, Pennsylvania's early voting system has had some problems, long lineups and accusations of voter suppression. It forced the courts to intervene to extend the hours of this key swing state.
And on election eve, both Trump and Harris are headed your way. What's in store?
Yeah, they're both barnstorming Pennsylvania to make that final push. Trump and Harris will hold dueling rallies in Pittsburgh, and then Harris will close her campaign here in Philadelphia, joined by celebrities Oprah Winfrey, Lady Gaga, Ricky Martin, for a big Get Out the Vote concert.
Richard Madden in Philadelphia tonight. Pennsylvania is part of the Blue Wall along with Michigan and Wisconsin. Once reliably Democratic, all three are in play this time. Ithel Musa is in Wisconsin, where voters took a break from partisan politics to join together in that statewide ritual, Green Bay Packers football.
On the Sunday before Election Day in battleground Wisconsin, it's not about the red or blue.
Yeah, go Pack, go! Go Pack, go!
It's game day, and everyone here is united in green.
Football brings everybody together. It's the common denominator for all of us.
The Green Bay Packers football team is indeed a unifying force. Most fans are focused on defeating their rival, but there are a few here who admit there's also another competition on their minds.
I know it's a swing state, has always been a swing state for the past couple of presidential elections. It's going to be a toss-up. It's tough.
Right now, the way the numbers are going, it's 1 percentage point between the two, so it'll be interesting to see how it all comes out.
Wisconsin's 10 electoral college votes are critical in this election, and both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris know it. The presidential candidates held dueling rallies on Friday within 10 kilometers of each other. Now, on Sunday,
we have to wrap up before the Packers-Lions game starts.
Just before the game, one of the Harris campaign's top surrogates, former President Barack Obama, hitting a key theme of the campaign.
If Congress passes a bill to restore the reproductive freedom that women had for nearly 50 years and that Donald Trump bragged about taking away, Kamala Harris will sign it into law.
Wisconsin has been a reliable brick in the Midwestern blue wall that has helped usher Democrats into the White House. That streak ended with Trump's shocking win in 2016, something he's now hoping to repeat. But some voters here say they're turned off by some of the divisive political rhetoric. This couple, divided by their football loyalties, are hopeful Americans can come together.
We're one team, one dream, right? And I think that with our relationship, and I think that with our country, right? We are one country.
A country with one big decision to make come Tuesday. Ithel Musa, CBC News, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
As we showed earlier, the Trump campaign is already casting doubt on the integrity of election results.
There are people who believe the exact opposite of reality.
We'll break down their strategy from nuisance lawsuits to election observers who might intimidate voters. It's all in the service of a message Trump keeps repeating. The only way he can lose is if the vote was rigged. That's coming up. Also coming up in just 2 days, we'll have special coverage on election night. Join Adrian and me Tuesday as the votes are counted. You can catch us at 8 p.m. Eastern, wherever you watch CBC News. What happens south of the border is being closely watched in Ottawa, especially when it comes to Canada's trade relationship with the U.S. JP Tasker now with what's at stake, depending on who wins and how Canadian officials are preparing.
And we know it is time.
With the U.S. election result on a knife's edge, Canada waits anxiously to learn what could happen to the trillion-dollar bilateral trading relationship.
The whole world needs to buckle up because President Trump will continue his policies from 2016. He will continue those policies.
Trump's former ambassador to Canada says people here need to brace for higher tariffs if our old boss wins again.
The word tariff, properly used, is a beautiful word. One of the most beautiful words I've ever heard. It's music to my ears.
Trump's promising a minimum 10% tax on all imports, a potentially disruptive development for Canadian businesses and the workers they employ.
We are going to make certain that we make America great again, and we bring it back to where it was under the Trump presidency.
That's not what Canada wants to hear, but the government's point person on the U.S. says Ottawa is ready for a Trump 2.0.
We have stood firm with Canadian businesses and workers in the past. We will continue to do that.
Mary Ng has met Republican and Democratic lawmakers in dozens of states, building an alliance against trade protectionism.
We are strategic partners. We are dependable partners between Canada and the United States, and that will for sure continue.
Canadians will also be watching the upcoming transfer of power. The current U.S. ambassador says he's not worried.
And I firmly believe that regardless of the outcome of the election, that the United States is going to remain the most durable democracy in the world.
A Kamala Harris victory could also be challenging for Canada. She was one of 10 U.S. senators to vote against the new NAFTA, a trade deal that's worth so much to this country. She's promised to review it if elected. JP Tasker, CBC News, Ottawa.
Public health officials in New Brunswick have declared a measles outbreak in the Fredericton area. 5 cases of the virus have been reported since Thursday, with other potential cases still under investigation. The province is urging people to get vaccinated. Public officials say a global surge in measles cases over the past year has been driven mostly by areas with little or no vaccine coverage. In Halifax, people gathered tonight at a candlelight vigil for the Walmart employee who lost her life. The 19-year-old woman was found by her mother, also an employee, in a walk-in bakery oven just over 2 weeks ago. The store remains closed as an internal review and police investigation continue. The King of Spain visited one of the hardest hit flood zones today, but that visit didn't go as planned. From hurling mud to hurling insults. Why so many residents are angry at the Royals. Plus, fixed-term contracts with a costly caveat.
I wasn't expecting to get my first bill and have an increase right away.
Our Go Public team on the growing number of telecom customers coming forward. And a touching twist to trick or treat.
Whoever those kids' parents are, they're doing something right.
We're back in 2.
We were laying in bed and we heard this big noise, and it sounded like a train was going by.
Severe storms spawning multiple tornadoes bore down on Oklahoma City overnight, ripping roofs off buildings and knocking out power to more than 85,000 homes and businesses. At least 11 people were injured. More storms are expected to hit the area tonight. Angry survivors confronted the King and Queen of Spain today while they toured one of the areas hardest hit by this week's deadly flooding. As Lisa Shing tells us, the protesters are accusing the government of sending too little help too late.
In one of the worst hit areas, grief turns into anger. Protesters in Paiporta chanting murderers, slinging mud at Spain's King and Queen as they survey the damage. It was known and nobody did anything to avoid it, he says to the King. The fury growing as the worst natural disaster the region of Valencia has seen in decades. The death toll, more than 200 and counting. Dozens still unaccounted for. Thousands still without electricity. Demonstrations playing out as the public questions why help didn't come faster and why they weren't warned sooner. An alert urging residents to leave home on Tuesday was only sent after floodwaters started surging. We need to give people hope and ensure the state is there for them, said King Felipe. We understand their anger and frustration. A year's worth of rain fell in less than 8 hours. Water gushed down rivers, picked up cars, destroying bridges and highways. The main objective now is to save lives and to recover the bodies, said Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. In addition to several thousand soldiers and police already on the ground, the government deploying 10,000 more to help with rescue efforts alongside volunteers, something this Canadian living in the area saw firsthand.
What's really been outstanding is the generosity of Spanish people themselves, and how, thousands and thousands of people lined up and walked across the bridges, walked that walk that I did the other day, bringing food, water.
The river in this town, now a muddy channel. You feel like crying, he says, but at the same time you have to say, keep your head up, you can get through this. While the waters have now receded, rebuilding will take months. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
A growing number of customers are calling out some of Canada's biggest telecom companies for raising prices after contracts are locked in.
It's very difficult to find, as a consumer, what rights you actually have.
Why those price hikes are happening and the push to make it stop. Plus, what America could look like the day after the election gets called.
There are a lot of places that various actors could try to change the outcome.
And a popular editorial cartoonist at the top of his game let go by his newspaper.
If Twitter paid, we'd probably be in a golden age of cartooning.
Michael Deadder on the future of his industry. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next.
Now, this is the opening of the parachute, as Professor Jiang Fan mentioned just now, a very critical step.
A successful return to Earth today by 3 of China's astronauts after they spent 6 months in that country's space station. The nighttime landing went as planned, and all 3 were reported to be in good health. In late October, their replacement crew blasted off to relieve them. More fallout tonight from our Go Public team's investigation into telco contracts. Hundreds of customers from Rogers, Bell, and TELUS have reached out, frustrated over agreements that lock them into a fixed term while prices are allowed to go up. Erica Johnson now on the growing calls for action.
Melanie Norman recently signed a 3-year contract with Bell for TV, internet, and phone, agreed to a monthly price, but her first bill was $5 higher for TV.
I wasn't expecting to get my first bill and have an increase right away. It was a bit of a shock.
Welcome to Bell. When she called to complain, a Bell agent confirmed price hikes during a contract are allowed. Key information she wasn't told before signing up.
Wasn't clear at all. Never mentioned it.
Since Go Public first told the story of a Rogers customer who thought she too had a guaranteed price that went up, hundreds of Canadians from across the country have reached out. Customers with Rogers, Bell, and TELUS frustrated by contracts they call misleading, often with hefty penalties to cancel. It's prompted the NDP to demand action from government.
Canadians are getting ripped off.
A parliamentary committee on industry and technology wants Rogers' CEO to make an appearance. And Go Public has obtained a letter from the telecom regulator saying telecom providers should not be surprising their customers with price increases beyond what they originally agreed to. This contract law expert says it's time for the CRTC to specifically investigate telco contracts.
They're very difficult to understand, and it's very difficult to find, as a consumer, what rights you actually have.
Norman says when she called Bell about her bill, she also learned price hikes are coming for her phone and internet. A spokesperson says Bell regrets its rep did not provide clear information about potential pricing adjustments and has offered credits to offset her extra costs. Meantime, Go Public has learned the industry minister has texted with senior leadership at Rogers about that TV price hike that started it all. It's not clear exactly what was discussed or whether Rogers will roll back that increase. Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
Our Go Public stories come from you. If you have a tip for the team to investigate, send an email to gopublic@cbc.ca. Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. Meet the editorial cartoonist who was just laid off, but his audience is bigger than ever.
If Twitter paid, we'd probably be in a golden age of cartooning.
But first, Donald Trump's nonstop campaign to cast doubt on election results.
We will never give up. We will never concede.
How that could play out once the votes are counted.
There are people who believe the exact opposite of reality.
In a very tight race for the White House, Trump seems determined to have the option of claiming the count was rigged. Ellen Morrow breaks down why that strategy could prove to be a wild card.
We have to make sure that we stop them from cheating, because they cheat like dogs. We're in a race with some very sick people. They're liars.
Donald Trump has spent months making all kinds of baseless claims about this election.
She said, keep those borders open, let everybody come in. You're either stupid, you hate our country, or they're trying to get them to vote, right?
And like in past years, he's refused to be clear on whether he'll accept the results. Trump and his allies say they're trying to protect the vote, but analysts say Trump is creating mistrust so he can challenge the results if he loses, the same thing that happened in 2020. But this time around, that effort is shaping up to be more sophisticated.
There's no question over the last 4 years that anti-democratic forces have been working to organize all over the country. Those individuals will likely be activated in the aftermath of a Trump loss to try to interfere with the process in counties all over the country.
I'll explain what's different now, but first, let's go back to 2020.
I'm very worried about mail-in voting because I think it's subject to tremendous fraud and being rigged.
Trump spent months sowing doubt leading up to that vote, too. Then, on election night, even though a clear result was still days away, Trump declared victory.
Frankly, we did win this election.
All that denial culminating in the January 6th attack by Trump supporters on the U.S. Capitol.
We will never give up. We will never concede.
Trump's own officials said there was no widespread fraud. Some even described 2020 as the most secure election in U.S. history.
We know who wins our elections, even when the margins are very, very close. And yet we have candidates, particularly losing candidates, who spread lies.
4 years later, one poll suggests a majority of Republicans believe 2020 was stolen. Another says fewer than half think 2024 will be fair and accurate.
Because they've already started cheating in Lancaster. They've cheated.
That certainly makes things challenging. And it makes people willing to believe rumors and conspiracy theories.
And compared to 2020, there's a lot more groundwork in place to dispute the results, starting with dozens of election deniers who now have power over parts of the electoral process.
We have a very decentralized election system. There are a lot of places that various actors could try to change the outcome for partisan purposes.
One of those places, county and state election boards. Investigations from the New York Times and Rolling Stone found election deniers serving as election officials in the key swing states that will decide the election. A lot of attention is on Georgia, where a majority of the members of the state election board have questioned 2020. Election boards are important. They're responsible for certifying the results of a county or a state. The fear, analysts say, is that election deniers serving on them could try to subvert a win for Kamala Harris or at least delay certification.
There's trouble in counties that will delay everything, it'll cause confusion, etc.
Election deniers have also been leading efforts to recruit poll watchers.
We got to make sure there's no cheating, and we're working hard on that.
This pro-Trump organization claims to have recruited tens of thousands of so-called election integrity patriots to be at the polls. Poll watchers are volunteers who monitor parts of the election process. They can be nonpartisan or members of political parties, and both parties use them. Again, Trump supporting groups say this is about the integrity of the vote, but concerns have been raised that 2020 skeptics watching the polls could end up interfering with the process or intimidating some voters to stay away.
You're going to have state police stationed at polling places. You're going to have plexiglass gun-proof walls.
The impact is on the millions of election workers in this country who are working hard to make sure that every American's voice is heard.
Then there's the lawsuits.
We got more lawyers, we got more people watching. And I told them, if we win and when we win, we're going to prosecute people that cheat on this election.
In 2020, Trump and his allies filed a flurry of lawsuits challenging results across the country. All of them failed. That chaotic effort led by Rudy Giuliani.
We will be bringing an action challenging that.
Top Republican Party lawyers refused to help Trump in 2020, but things are different now. The Republican National Committee's election litigation team is led by a 2020 denier who was actually indicted for efforts to overturn the vote. There have already been dozens of lawsuits filed by both parties over different aspects of the 2024 election, but the majority of them have reportedly come from Republicans. The RNC says it has a proactive litigation strategy.
You can imagine efforts, running all the way from the lowest levels of the system up to the final stage of the process, which takes place in Congress on January 6th.
And the closeness of this race increases the likelihood of a fraught post-election period.
Most people in the United States will be voting on multiple page ballots with literally dozens of races on them. So it's not just the presidency that they have to count. That's going to take some time.
Like in 2020, it could take days for a winner to be called, leaving time for doubt and misinformation to spread just as it did then.
People can always think, oh, this went wrong, or this went wrong, or they did something funny over here.
USA! Even worse, perhaps, for people to descend upon the vote counting centers and try to stop the vote because they think something nefarious is going on.
Despite all those challenges, every expert we spoke to said they're confident American institutions will hold, with more guardrails in place now than in 2020. Those include the Electoral Count Reform Act, designed to make it more difficult for trouble at the state or local level to derail the whole certification process in Congress.
I'm sure there will be many, many attempts at this, but the system is ready for them.
Still, they say this baseless, widespread election denial will have deep and lasting harmful impacts on the country.
There are people who believe the exact opposite of reality, and we're going to have to work hard over the course of the next several years to bring all of our citizens back to a common reality.
And a reminder, we'll have special coverage Tuesday night. You can catch Adrian and me with results as they're coming in. That begins at 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll go live on all of our platforms. After a 30-year run with a major newspaper, one of Canada's top editorial cartoonists is being forced to pivot.
You control everything, every facet of the cartoon getting out there.
My conversation with Michael DeAdder on looking ahead after losing his job. Editorial cartoonist Michael DeAdder at the height of his craft, but he's lost his full-time gig.
I've never been viewed more on a daily basis, yet my source of income are drying up. It makes no sense.
I sat down with him to learn about the state of his profession and to be captured by his satirical pen. You know that grossly distorts my height. You'll see what he drew during our wide-ranging conversation. So I'm really impressed with editorial cartoonists. You have to be a great artist and you have to have a keen editorial mind, but you also have to deal with a deadline. So we've given you, what, an hour and 20 minutes to come up with a cartoon, making fun of me?
Yeah.
Be kind?
I'll try.
Ready to go?
I'm ready.
Michael, pleasure to sit down and finally get to chat with you.
Thanks for having me.
You were just let go just a few weeks ago by the Halifax Chronicle-Herald. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, all things considered. I have some, exciting things coming up, I think. It led to some good things.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that. One of the things that I'm really interested in finding out from you is the state of editorial cartooning. And you kind of got a sense of it when you were just at a big conference of cartoonists in Canada and the United States, and kind of compare that to what that convention was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, my first convention with the Americans was in Toronto. The Association of Canadian Cartoonists and the American Association of Editorial Cartoonists had a joint convention. It was attended by 350 guests. Compared to the convention I just came from, which was another joint convention, this time in Montreal. It's not always in Canada, but just coincidentally, there might have been 50 cartoonists.
Wow. So far fewer cartoonists. What about the mood? Is it gloomy?
Well, gloomy's a good word, but it's also positive. Like, we get together and we're like family. So you come away from it feeling positive, at least about the profession. But you come away from it gloomy about where the profession is, you know. So yeah, a little bit of both, a mixture of both things.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of things that I think probably make it tough. The big one is newspapers just aren't what they used to be, right? Fewer people are getting paper copies of their newspaper. The papers are trying to just spend less money these days because they've lost a lot of their advertising revenue. I guess there are just far fewer opportunities out there for people like you.
Oh yeah, far, far fewer. I mean, every newspaper worth its grain of salt had an editorial cartoonist. And slowly, over a period of 20 years, not 4 or 5, they've been shedding their cartoonists.
Now here's the irony, I see you more than ever because I follow you on social media. So there I am in Vancouver, and I wasn't seeing you, for example, in the Halifax paper, but I see you on Twitter. That must be nice to be, you know, the boss of how your cartoons get out there. You can put them out when you want and put out what you want.
Yeah, yeah. You control everything, every facet of the cartooning getting out there. If Twitter paid, if it actually paid, we'd probably be in a golden age of cartooning because you can see everybody's cartoon from around the world. Like, you never used to be able to do that. You know, I've never been viewed more on a daily basis, yet my source of income are drying up. It makes no sense.
Now you're on Substack.
Substack.
Which is a site where subscribers can pay and get your stuff. How's that going?
That's going very well, actually. It was, before I was let go from the Herald, 15% of my income. And now it's more like 40% of my income.
Is that because you're not making any money from the Chronicle
Well,
Herald?
that's partially. I've actually adjusted for that. But, you know, I've got a tremendous amount of support over the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, so the economics of editorial cartooning, for all the reasons we've mentioned, is kind of tough. I feel like there's another thing that's going on that's kind of tough, and that is this polarized, angry, political world that we see in the news all the time. What impact does that have on cartoonists?
Well, that has a huge impact in the sense that, you know, you get on social media, you get instant feedback. Like, you had to wait. And this is going to sound like a dinosaur. You used to have to wait till letters of the editor came in. And they might trickle in over days, so you wouldn't have a full impact of the complaints for a few days later. Now you get it instantly. Now if I do a cartoon against Pierre Poilievre, I hear nothing but complaints that I never do Trudeau. But then when I do Trudeau, I hear nothing but complaints that I never do Poilievre. It's because not only is social media the primary focus of today's, you know, area to complain, but I don't even think each side sees the other cartoons. I think they get, so if I draw a cartoon on Pierre Poilievre, it gets shared by conservatives all over the internet, or it gets shared by liberals because it complains about Poilievre. but they don't see each other's posts for some reason, or they only see the complaints, you know.
You know, I do a live radio show on CBC, a call-in show, Cross Country Checkup on Sundays, and it's so busy I can't use my phone during the show. Yeah. At the end of the program, at the end of the 2 hours, with some trepidation, I pick up my phone and I take a look at social media and I think to myself, okay, how did it go today?
Right.
Do you go through that process after you know your cartoon's been posted or printed?
No, because I don't want to see it. I don't care. But with
Really
that said,
though? Really? You don't care?
Hey, listen. Yes, on some days when I'm not doing anything, I go back and look. But I don't. Put it this way: I don't jump on it. I don't jump on to see what's being said.
So you have a fine arts degree from Mount Allison University.
Yes.
That is a school that has had some incredibly heralded artists that spent their entire lives creating beautiful painting. You became an editorial cartoonist. Why?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to be a painter. So I consider myself less of a successful cartoonist, more of a failed painter. Now, I know that cartooning has been really good for me, and that does, I'm very fortunate to have had my career in cartooning. I don't want to get you wrong. But I really set out to be a painter, like a gallery painter, not a commercial artist. Cartooning just started taking off faster for whatever reason.
And you love it?
Oh, I love it, yeah. I get to draw every day. I never had to grow up. I mean, cartoonists never had to become adults. They play every day. I'm so fortunate to be able to make art on a daily basis. But I also would like to return to painting, so I have been doing some painting now.
So if you were to go back to Mount A and talk to the fine arts graduating class of 2025, knowing what you do about the state of editorial cartooning, your own career, what's been good, what's been bad, what would you tell them?
Well, if you're thinking of going to newspapers, I might dissuade them. I don't know, it's hard to say because there's also another threat to artists, and it's AI, and it's going to get more difficult, I think, as AI really takes over the universe.
Okay, it's time for the reveal. Let's see it.
All right, here you go.
So, you know that grossly distorts my height.
Yes, and I do realize that we're probably the same height, but we were talking about how people, the first thing they notice about you is that you're not as tall as they thought you would be.
Yeah.
So that's where this comes from.
And I'm standing on a soapbox.
And you're standing on a soapbox.
Fantastic. Very well done.
All right. There we go.
Yeah, I'll file the papers for the lawsuit in the morning. We have a longer cut of that interview on YouTube, and in it, I show Michael a couple of the cartoons, comics that he created that got a lot of criticism. One he actually apologizes for, the other, absolutely not. Coming up, trick-or-treaters decide to pay it forward.
Whoever those kids' parents are, they're doing something right because, they did a great thing.
The moment of kindness, next in our moment. You're looking at a group of kids in St. John's, Newfoundland, surrounding an empty bowl while trying to trick or treat. Normally that would be a disappointing situation, but those kids flipped the script, warming the homeowner's heart and making sure the next kids wouldn't leave empty-handed. Tonight, that act of generosity is our moment.
It was Halloween night. My niece is 2.5 years old, so we had to go see her, of course. So instead of turning off the lights, we decided to leave a bowl of candy outside of our door for any trick-or-treaters that came by. And I was a bit nervous because I was afraid we were going to run out before we got back. When we pulled in, I was expecting to see the bowl empty, but when I looked in the bowl, instead of it being empty or with candy in it, now it was instead full of chips and cheesies. So just out of curiosity, I went on our security camera, and when I did, I saw these kids who came by and they were looking in the bowl, noticed that it was empty, And I guess just out of the goodness of their hearts, they reached into their bags and filled it back up for the next trick-or-treaters that were coming by. So I thought that was really touching. Kind of just restores your faith in humanity. Whoever those kids' parents are, they're doing something right because, you know, they did a great thing.
So going into this already, I love Halloween. I love the way that it brings neighborhoods together. You get to meet all kinds of people that you don't normally get to see during the rest of the year. But what's happening there, not only was that so cool, but our producer Whitney tells me that this is a thing. Apparently there are a bunch of videos online of other kids in other neighborhoods refilling empty candy bowls. Fantastic. Thank you for being with us. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Ian Hannah-Mansing in Toronto. Good night.